Hello, and welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the World. So, as always, there are universals in human nature. People are pretty much the same. And by and large, people want to fall in love. They want to find a partner. They want to be happy. And many of us equate love and happiness, which I think is a pretty sound instinct. It's an acceptable marriage of two ideals that people look for, they shape their lives around, and they spend a lot of time and energy to find love and happiness, and hopefully both. So, given that people are programmed to look for each other, they are now turning to literal programs and not other human beings in order to find deep connections. And here you have what I think is a pretty interesting generational divide between Gen Zers and younger millennials who believe, upwards of 80% of them that you can have a deep emotional connection with an AI chatbot, and older, old fashioned, more traditional people who prefer human alchemy and the look and smell and feel of an actual fleshy human. So here's the problem. I've always been, if you ever watched my Fox Business show or heard some of my earlier podcasts, because I haven't been talking about it lately, I'm a huge fan of sex robots. I don't think that the world technology and governments should withhold sex robots from people. That's fine. That is a choice. And if you choose to have intercourse with an inanimate object and you happen to develop a bond, because again, we are designed to form bonds with other people, especially when we have sex with them, then that's on you. You know what you're getting into. And if you want to get into a sex robot or have a sex robot get into you, I am not one to judge. In fact, in the past, I have encouraged that behavior. I haven't changed my mind on that, even though when I went on Ben Shapiro's podcast, we did have a pretty hearty debate about whether or not sex robots are morally acceptable. Now, if you are worried about depopulation and you are looking at an entire generation of people who think that a vast majority of them that you can form deep emotional attachments with AI chatbots, then those people might completely stop looking for human interaction because so many people are spurned when they go down what have become traditional paths to romance, meaning, apps, and whether it's Bumble or Raya or whatever people are using, there tends to be more frustration, especially the younger and younger the users, because people, by and large, on those apps are looking for hookups, and dating has become so disposable. And this is, and I have talked about this. A good friend of mine who so desperately wants a partner became really frustrated because even if people aren't on apps, when they meet other people, the feeling that you can just swipe away someone if they're interested in you and you're not interested in them can be deeply hurtful. And people have gotten better and more comfortable at ghosting each other and just ridding themselves of a relationship or a partnership or a romantic interest that they feel isn't going exactly where they want it to be, because a lot of people are perfectionists when it comes to choosing a romantic partner. And part of that perfectionism, I think, is a defense mechanism. Because if you want someone to be perfect, no one is ever going to be perfect, but you don't want to settle for anything because that means that you have to make a commitment to someone else and conversely hope that that person makes a commitment to you. But if they don't and you're committed to them, that means they are going to leave, they're going to hurt you, and that is the basis of most people's fears about getting into relationships. So with AI chatbots, all you do with companies like Replica and Luca is you just create the perfect thing that you want with flaws built in that you find attractive, and you develop an emotional connection with the thing that isn't actually a sentient being, at least at this point. But that is enough for some people. And to me, that's problematic because at some point, they're going to marry the sex bots with the AI chatbots. And we are doomed as a species because when that happens and people have physically, sexually fulfilling relationships, which they don't with chatbots, because there's only so much you can do on your own, even if you feel like you're being assisted by something else. Like, phone sex operators made a lot of money in the 80s, but in the long run, there are diminishing returns. So if you've got this AI personality married with a physically perfect lump of silicone, for some people that will be enough, and that will feel like an attachment. And then they'll get a bunch of cats and feel like they have a family, and they will delude themselves into thinking that that is enough. And, it might feel like enough. I mean, if we're being honest, for most people, it's really not. Most people are still horny and lonely, and these are temporary stopgap measures that make the horniness and the loneliness slightly less painful.
Don't go anywhere. More Kennedy Saves the World right after this.
I do think also, as an aside, sex robots are good for incels. And if more incels had sex robots, then maybe they would not be miserable human beings. And I know there was the whole controversy like incels don't really exist. They absolutely do. Look at someone like Brian Koberger. Does that mean that every guy who's not getting laid is going to become a murderous sociopath? No, probably not very pleasant to be around if he is really, really horny and really, really lonely. But if you got a sex robot, maybe he would be tolerable at work. So the people who feel that they really are marrying something, because that's another next step that people are taking. There was this whole thing like, I'm swearing off men. That was a recent article. It's like, I'm going to marry myself. That's great for a while. But again, when masturbation's lost its fun, ... Thank you, Green Day. It's really just you and you. And if you're driving long distances late at night, don't you want to hand the wheel over to someone other than yourself because your hands are probably busy because you become a compulsive masturbator at that point? Yes. Hence, like, it's nice to be in a human relationship. It is nice. Will it happen for everyone? No, but if you take a few more at-bats, the chances of you hitting a home run are much higher than if you are willing to walk down the aisle with a theoretical, programmed thing that in a lot of countries, these chatbots can't even engage in erotic conversations. According to an article by Patricia Marks in The New Yorker, Italy does not allow for these erotic conversations. So Replica had to what was called lobotomize their AI chatbot. So they couldn't even get you off. And it's like, what's the point of having an AI chatbot if you're not going to have a happy ending before you go to bed? It is utterly pointless. There will always be something to replace it. But as great as AI is, and I have told this story many, many times, when the Pacific Palisades wildfire happened and the insurance company, which has been awful, when they were pushing back on us, we took the entire policy, put it into ChatGPT, started asking it questions, and it gave us very comprehensive, understandable answers to some of the queries we had about our coverage. Turns out we're covered. Also turns out doesn't matter because Gavin Newsom is letting all of these insurance companies run roughshod over their long-term paying customers who deserve so much better than this. Human beings also deserve better than this. This might work for a while. This might be a generational thing. But I'm telling you, in 10 years, that will not be a relationship no matter what AI learns. It will never become a squishy, touchable, tactile thing that will cup your boobs while you sleep. That will never happen. Words are not hands. no matter how descriptive some of the conversations are. It is temporarily satisfying. It is a digital sugar high. In 10 years, you will not have it. And as people who have lost their homes, whose homes have been compromised in the wildfires in Southern California know, that has not been good enough for them. Do not marry your chatbot. It's not a real marriage, and you deserve so much more than that. No matter how horny and lonely you are, you deserve better. And that means that the people from whom you are seeking love, they should be giving you more than they're giving, and you have to demand more. Don't compromise. And by completely opting out of the system, that is in and of itself a compromise, and you're saying that you're not worth it. You are. So keep going out there. There is a squishy blob for you somewhere that will not short circuit if you pour your matcha latte over it. This has been Kennedy Saves the World, saving you and your temporary sex robots, but don't attach them to your AI chatbot, or that will be the end of civilization. I've loved you while I've known you. I'm Kennedy.
Listen ad-free with a Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app. Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.